Well, Dave, we almost got it. I didn't realize I didn't have this on record until about 15 seconds in or 20 seconds. But you know, I'm sure you can pick up just the ambient noise of my voice, my radio voice, as they always told me. It didn't do me much good, but at least they tell me I have a radio voice.
Oh, gosh, the baritone.
Yeah. You know, it's so funny how you can have natural God-given attributes.
Yeah.
And they're nothing, you know, you never think about it because it's you. You've been that way all your life and everything, but other people say, oh, did you know you have the most beautiful eyes?
Yeah.
Did you know your voice, your hair, your smell, you know, and to you was just my soap I showered with. It's just it's just my natural hair until you lose it, you know, and whatever, you know.
Do you remember that homeless guy about 10 years ago, maybe 15? That man on the street interview, and he had this rich voice. And I said, man, you need to be on radio.
America's Got Talent.
I forget what it was. Yeah. I mean, just homeless vagabond, but boy, did he have a beautiful voice for radio. Sound over
to dream the impossible dream.
And you know, I think it helps he get elected as a politician. I mean, the only thing James Langford has going for him is his baritone voice. And Josh Hawley's even deeper.
Now, but Josh's voice doesn't, I'm sorry. Nothing about Josh Hawley offends me. Mm-hmm. I think Josh has the whole package. He is one of the most intelligent and direct people to me in the Senate. I mean, when you hear him talk, do you remember the old was it Edward something? Oh, E.F. Hutton.
Yes.
When E.F. Hutton speaks, the world listens. Everybody listens. That
was a 70s thing. It was huge.
Yeah, it was. But I think Josh Hawley is the guy, when he speaks, I listen because I know there's some things I don't agree with him. You can't, which is to his credit.
He's pretty much a pro-union guy.
Yeah, I mean, he disagrees with Trump on a few things.
Very populist himself.
But the things... it reminds me of an old saying attributed to St. Augustine, but others say that it was Thomas Aquinas later on. Okay. But it was our motto for Youth with a Mission when we were missionaries, because we had in our mission, we had Catholics, Protestants, Pentecostals, you name it, the whole gamut. You know, the only thing we didn't have is Unitarians, because they basically don't believe in hell, heaven and hell.
But they're sure of it.
Yeah. But you name the general denominations, and they were in. You'll find them in YWAM, okay, for the mission. But anyway, and the motto was, in the essentials unity, in the non-essentials diversity, but in all things love.
Yes.
And it's something, I mean, we're taught the first day that you're in a discipleship training school. That's one of the things. And you don't have to, but you should write it down. So it's not that hard to remember. But still, in the essentials unity and in the non-essentials diversity, but in all things love. And so we were with the 11 years, and we had all manner of people to come work with us.
Even Kate Bush fans.
I became a Kate Bush fan through. But anyway, but I don't remember ever getting into an argument over politics, religion, because it just didn't come up.
Now, parenting was another issue, though. There's some pretty whacked up views on parenting.
Yeah, I did have one issue with one parent who didn't like the way I was disciplining my son.
Well, that's discipline. That's hitting kids. And he's hitting his kids.
But here's what's funny. It was a literal woodshed.
Yeah.
It was a literal woodshed. I didn't, but because I drug him into the woodshed, and this guy, and he came back crying, my son, This guy tried to tell me I should not do this in public. But here's the rule. Here's the rule on that. If the child offends you in public, you punish them in public.
Yeah.
That teaches them not to do that in public.
Or Talitha will, right? Didn't she smack one of the kids?
No.
What was it that she was a part of?
There was this other girl that was trying to beat up her brother. Because she was one of these kids that whatever other kids were on, that was hers.
Oh, yeah. The selfish kid.
Right. So she got up and went to this other toy out there. They were like 2 or 3 years. I think Talitha was 4 at the time. Our son was 2 and the girl was 3, I guess, somewhere in between. But anyway, so he decided he was going to get on this little horse or something. And the girl, she was on something else, but she didn't want him on that. So she said, get up. And I yelled at Talitha. I just pointed.
Oh, you let Talitha do your work.
I wasn't going to hit somebody else's. Right. Oh, and they were our next door neighbors. We lived in these bungalows and they were right. And the parents, we were sitting outside and the mother of the other child, the girl, was sitting next to my wife. And so I said, Talitha. So Talitha runs over and plants herself just like a statue in front of her brother. And this girl starts screaming, yelling, and grabbing her and trying to push her out of the way. And out of nowhere, Talitha just smacked her as hard as she could across the face. And it was one of those delayed reaction where she went, she started screaming and running to her mother, you know, because no one had ever dared to cross Renska. Renska was her name, a Dutch girl, but it's a Russian name, Renska. So anyway, Renska goes running to her mother and her mother. And so I'm worried now, we've blown it up with our neighbor or whatever. And instead, the lady says, the mom says, she had every right to slap you because you were being greedy and obnoxious.
And assaulted her.
And so anyway, and then later, the mom came to us. Oh, thank your daughter. She needed that. So, but here's what's funny. Then in YWAM in particular, and some other organizations, you have a pecking order of leadership, different levels. And in our community, we had a community that was about a mile away than ours. But anyway, in our community, the leader, the wife of the leader, who was also Dutch, she saw it and she said, oh, your daughter should not have done that. We need to love Renska. we need to love Renska. And I wanted to just say, well, she just loved her. She just loved her across the face, you know. But it's funny that the mother recognized that her daughter needed that, and then some other lady felt that she didn't. So,
you know, I had a situation.
Oh, by the way, I will tell you this. Talitha slapped her into missionhood.
Oh, boy. How about that?
That girl is now a missionary in Tanzania.
You see, he who spares the rod hates his child, Proverbs says. But I tell you, I was like 10, 12 years old, and we had renters next door, some biker chip mama whose baby daddy never married her. She's raising a boy who's about 8. And some kid, I think it was his classmate, was riding a bike by, and they started mouthing each other. And the boy gets off his bike, you know, comes up to him right out on the boulevard, kind of between the sidewalk and the curb, right? And they get, you know, really hostile. And all of a sudden they start shoving. And the mama comes out, said, get him, Dennis. Hit him hard. He deserves it. The brat, you know, and they start fighting. Well, I called the police. I'm 12 years old, and I'm seeing a physical altercation.
You're 12 years old and called the police?
I did.
Oh, that's funny.
And the police showed up. And, of course, you know, they stopped fighting as soon as they see the squad car coming down the street. And the police, you know, come up and they're trying to referee between two boys, you know. And I said, it started when Dennis's mother came out and said, beat the crap out of him. He's got it coming. And the cop turns and looks at this, woman who's single mom. Mm-hmm. Really? Is that what passes for parenthood in your family? Mm-hmm. And she got investigated by Child Protective Services. And
you snitch, you little snitch.
I did. But you know what? I mean, I'm sorry, that does not pass muster to me as good parenting.
Yeah, there's this feeling, it's been around for a while, somehow that physical altercations are evil or bad.
Yeah.
And my best friend in life ever, still today, at 70-some years later, my best friend and I met on the street and we fought. Mm-hmm. I had just moved to this I may have told this story.
This was Philly, right?
No, this was in Germany.
Oh, okay.
So we moved to town.
Oh, that's right.
And here I am walking outside of where we were living, and I'm standing on the street, just standing there, and here comes this little, I think I did tell this, a little biker gang, 4 and 5-year-old bikers. They were on these bicycles and they come riding up and they're looking at me, trying to figure me out. And so the one guy says to me, "Man, you're black. Why are you so black?" And I said, "Yeah, what of it?" Kind of in German, of course. What of it? And so he gets off his bike and we start pushing. Next thing I know, we're scuffling. And I just start beating this kid. And of course, he and the rest of them jump on their bikes and take off.
Oh.
That evening, all of a sudden, a couple hours later, actually, the door knocks. Oh no! So I run to my room and hide,
like every little kid does.
Yeah, and so I'm 5 years old.
Yeah,
I'm 5 years old. Yeah, and so I'll never forget this. I can picture it just like it was this morning. But anyway, and the lady says, "Hello, we live across the street down the road. Do you have a little boy here?" And my mom, "Yeah." And she said, "Eddie, come out here." And so I go crawling out and I'm looking and here this kid I had just beaten to a pulp, peeking around his mom. Mm-hmm. And I think, oh, I am in trouble, And then what is I think I had a hard time last time because I start crying sometimes when I tell this story. Mm-hmm. But he peeks around his mom and his mom says, "All right, go ahead. What do you say?" And she made him apologize to me. And so shake hands. So we sat there and shook hands. From that day, we were inseparable.
How about that?
And his parents were farmers, potato farmers.
Okay.
And so in the summertime, American school always got out as we do a month. Germans only get 6 weeks of summer school. Mm-hmm. Summer vacation. Mm-hmm. We get our 3 months. So, what would happen in the summer when school was out, I would ride up to his house, leave my bicycle, and then ride out to the potato farm and play or work with them, help them. Sometimes they had me, at 5 years old, I'm driving a tractor.
Yeah.
They taught me how to drive a tractor.
And those weren't easy to drive tractors either.
Had a clutch.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I'm there. I couldn't sit down. I had to stand up and do everything. But
just pressing that clutch down took some weight.
Yeah. And anyway, so but what would happen then? He'd get out of school because they only go to school till noon. Mm-hmm. Germans still today they only go from 9 to noon, and or 8 to noon. So I think it's 4 hours a day. But anyway, so then he gets my bike and he rides out to the farm area, and then he and I would play the rest of the afternoon. I don't know what we did. We just ran around out there chasing, finding mice.
Hey, farms are fun, man.
Right. Oh yeah. And then in the evening when they were loaded up. And I think they must have had hay too, because I remember they would throw my bike on top of the hay, and then we'd climb up there and we would ride on top of the hay back behind the tractor and the trailer to their in town.
So it was just loose hay. It wasn't bales, huh?
Right. No, yeah, it was just loose. Yeah. And so anyway, but literally we did that all the time. And so what was happening, this was actually kind of one of these Nazi stronghold areas and near Munich. And I had these kids one time, they saw us out there and then they started yelling at me, calling me the German word for nigger and all that. And they just picked the wrong time to do it, because Reinhardt's brothers, who were older, they were probably
Reinhard. Now that's a German name.
Yeah, they were about 6 years older than him, and they heard him and they went right to him, said, "If you ever say or do anything again against my brother's friend,
yeah, your own gang,
you're done." And you should have seen these kids were just terrified, because Reinhardt's brothers were some tough kids, you know. But so I never had another problem, and I was, as I can tell, I was the only black thing in the whole town. It was a little bitty German village.
But you weren't the scrawniest either, because you beat the snot out of this kid, the farmer's kid.
Yeah, I don't know if I was that tough or anything. I was just probably mean.
Well,
they told me I was kind of mean, and I just let it go. It
ain't the size of the dog in the fight; it's the size of the fight in the dog.
That's how the. But anyway, he became and still remains today, and so my wife and I went to Germany about 15, 20 years ago, and back to that village there, and saw him and his wife said, "I couldn't wait to meet you, because he still talks about you."
How about that?
And that was like 40 years later.
Wow.
And Reinhardt's still talking about you, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, like I said, it was one of those interesting things.
Yeah.
And now I don't remember how I got
Well, we
there.
were talking about senators, and I got to tell you, Josh Hawley's not my favorite senator from Missouri. Eric Schmidt is. I put Eric Schmidt against any of them to be the next nominee for president.
Really?
I think he's that solid of a guy.
Here's the problem. I don't think he's good looking enough.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have the clout or stroke that. And I'm just telling it like it is, because you either have to be handsome and get the ladies' vote that way with some a little substance, unless you're a Democrat, or you have to really offer something no one else is offering or has offered. And Eric Schmidt, I just don't think has either one of those attributes enough to make him presidential material. Right now, I think my early prediction and pick would be Marco Rubio. Because Marco, every time he gets on television, he just nails it. Whatever it is, he nails it.
I think he's better at this job than he was as a senator. And he wasn't a bad senator either.
Well, I think the reason he is better at this job than senator is because he now has more opportunity to actually express what he's been thinking all along.
Well, and more opportunities to put your foot in your mouth or, you know, screw up. And he has not screwed up anything.
No. Exactly.
I mean, think of it early on. He renegotiated the Panama Canal situation. Somebody said last week in the news that Venezuela is being run from Marco's office in the State Department. He has that much ability. Again, he speaks the language. That helps a lot.
Yeah.
No interpreters involved here. And I think they trust him as a fellow. Yeah. I know Cubans don't want to be called Latinos, but, you know.
You mean Venezuelans? Those either.
I'm sorry. No, well, I'm talking about the Cuban people don't like to be referred to as Latinos.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Even though they speak Cuban. The same language. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. The same as black people don't like to be called colored, and colored people don't like to be called black. No, I'm just saying, but no, I'm joking there. But,
I know George Carlin joked. Remember last year about people of color just means colored people.
Yeah, right, exactly. But no, I think Marco is just, he knows what to say at the time to say it. And I don't think there's anyone as eloquent as simply, and you can feel the passion when he speaks. In other words, there is no, as the Bible said, no guile.
Yeah.
What you see is what you get.
Right.
And if he's upset, he expresses that. If he's kind of putting you on, you can tell that.
Yeah. So NATO does an annual conference in Germany. And remember, J.D. Vance went over there right away and shook the place up, and they just about crapped their pants when J.D. was done speaking. Marco went back a year later, gave essentially the same talking points to a standing ovation of everyone. Marco just has those skills diplomatically.
Yeah. So that's why I don't think J.D. will ever be president. And it's not that I don't want him to be president. I wouldn't mind having him. Mm-hmm. Of course, I'm a fan because his movie, the movie of his life story,
the book. You told me about him before I'd ever heard of the guy.
Yeah,
you'd read his book
and the movie on Netflix.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's still on there or not, but Hillbilly
Elegy.
Hillbilly Elegy. Mm-hmm. If you haven't seen it, you should see it. But anyway, it's just some people just have that gifting. I think Marco has that gifting. Hey, let's move on to some local current news. We'll get to the local a little later. Mm-hmm. This anti-Israel sentiment that is so prevalent. Yeah. There's actually two issues here that I have to bring up today that I want to focus on. One is the socialization of America, that America in these urban areas and places you wouldn't suspect are starting to turn to socialists to lead them. And the latest is this, the governor of Colorado. And I'm sorry, the governor is a Democrat, but he is fighting within his own party.
He's calling them out on this socialism.
Right. He's got this Arab lady who I'm pretty sure she's a congressperson or either, I know it. She just won the Democratic primary to be the congressional representative for Colorado.
Okay, Jared Polis is the Democrat governor.
Right.
He's in his second 4-year term.
Right.
So
anyway, but what you're seeing is these representatives for these areas of various states that are turning to socialism. And this one also is not, here's the new deal. And this is what's so weird. Okay. I think Muslims have figured out the way to take over America. Mm-hmm. They're pretending to be socialists. I don't believe they really are socialists at heart. In fact, I can guarantee you they're not. But they figured a way to get in by appealing to the left. So the socialist segment of the Democrat Party is just so gullible and so ready to embrace anything that speaks their name or speaks their language. They support it. The prime example of that is Mamdani, who is now the mayor of New York. But you're seeing these Islamic people win elections all over the country. Mm-hmm. It's spreading and spreading. I think we're getting like London. London has 11 mayors. Mayors of the 11 largest cities in England are Islamic and socialist. Mm-hmm. And I think they've figured out how to do this because the education departments in our schools and our nation under Democratic leadership has bought into this idea of socialism. Mm-hmm. And they try to couch it in anti-capitalism because capitalism is evil. Well, what's the alternative? It's either socialism or it's outright communism, which there's a hair's breadth between them, okay?
It's by degrees,
Yeah. So, but this is what's happening now. I think that Muslims are using the Trojan horse of socialism. Both of them are bad, but Islam is worse, okay? But they figured out how to infiltrate and slowly take over. You hear about the neo-Nazis in Germany, neo-Nazism, okay? Which is coming from East Germany because under the Russian rule, when they were liberated and became one nation again, you had these people. And so, and I'm speaking from experience, okay? The Nazis are not racist. They're nationalists.
Yep.
And so the problem, and this is what the Democrats and liberals and progressives had done for decades and decades, they take a word and turn it, okay, and make it mean something it's not. Nationalism, okay? When you hear Christian nationalism, right? You're probably already there. You weren't.
Yeah, I know.
You're starting to see in various articles.
Christian nationalism bad. Buddhist nationalism's good though. Hindu nationalism's good.
Islamic nationalism,
that's all good.
It's all good. But Christian nationalism, and then essentially nationalism. But so that's what they've done. So the Muslims have figured out, this is the way we can get to the academia, to the people, the young people in America. We start pretending to be socialists, get them away from capitalist, from nationalism. They hate, they won't defend their own country because that's nationalistic.
And so the alternative to nationalism is globalism. Yeah. One
world government.
So, in borders, why that just reminds us that we're nations.
Right. And what kind of government, though? See, that's the question that no one asks.
That's
no
it.
One deals with.
Now, Eddie, let's go back in time. You and I have lived long enough. We remember what we were taught back in the mid-20th centuries about that what led to World War I and World War II was hyper-nationalism. It's that kind of thumping our chests kind of mindset. And we're taught that it's a bad thing, and we remember we grew up at a time when our teachers celebrated the United Nations and the end of all wars, right. And this is the problem we have here. What to me was one of our greatest cultural achievements of 2026 was the FIFA World Cup, particularly the opening ceremonies. When you saw those soccer players standing with full-throated energy singing their national anthems.
Except for the Americans.
Exactly. What we got schooled in is there's people who are proud to wear that jersey for their nation. And you know what? Many of them went further than the United States did in their sports because it wasn't just about their career. It's about representing their nation.
Yeah, it is. And you got Megan Rapinoe, who's kneeling for the national anthem in London because America is such a racist country and so forth. And she's standing for the national anthem of the United Kingdom.
And the NFL did the same thing at Wembley Stadium.
Right, exactly. And they're standing for God Save the Queen, whose grandfathers were the people sending slaves to America.
Yeah.
They were running the country when America was a slave nation. It was when we got our independence that we put that into the Declaration of Independence that all men are created equal.
Yeah. Think about, you couldn't script this any better. It was back in, 2018, where at Wembley Stadium, the New England, remember, used to be called the Boston Patriots, were playing against the Baltimore Ravens, i.e. Fort McKinley, i.e. Francis Scott Key, Star Spangled Banner. And all those players kneeling when it comes time to stand for the United States, Patriots in Baltimore, but standing to honor the crown of England.
Right. Right.
You couldn't script it any more pathetic.
Yeah. I mean, that shows how stupid these people are.
Very, very.
And they're not paying attention. They've been herded like sheep or cattle. And as dumb sheep are some of the dumbest animals out there. And that's exactly what they are and how they are. To follow this kind of thing and not think about it.
Yeah.
For example, I'll just throw this in real quick. So I'm on this Texas Tech chat board.
Okay.
And there's this issue. There was a black girl. I don't think she's really black. I think she's biracial. She's lighter than me. She just looks like she's mixed. But anyway, so there was a Charlie Kirk, what is it?
Turning Point
USA. They have these representatives, college campus all around. So they have, when you go there, there's a square where people can make speeches, do whatever.
The free speech zone.
Right, the free speech zone. And then they have,
which means the rest of the campus is not free speech.
yeah. So they have literature that you can get. And so anyway, so this girl comes up to a Turning Point table and starts accosting this guy who is out there on behalf of Turning Point. And she takes him, the guy's wearing a hat, and she takes his literature, hits his hat, knocks it off. Well, I don't know who called, but somebody called security and they called the police and they arrest the girl for assault. Well, there's all these black people now that are upset defending the girl as if it was a racist attack or something like this. Oh, she's being judged because of racism. No, she's being judged because she's an idiot and she touched some other person physically, and you can't do that.
Right.
And so she was expelled too. She was arrested and then she was expelled. But now everybody, these people, most of the school doesn't really care. But and you had a few people that told the whole story of what actually happened, what she did and everything.
Yeah.
But it's just so silly that people are just looking for an excuse to be angry and to attack the establishment and it's so funny because these people are talking about how racist and how bad Texas Tech is and I'm thinking, are you kidding me? I went there when there were 20,000 students and less than 50 of us were black. Look at that ratio.
One of the first people you met on campus addressed you as spook.
Right. That's right. And I was the first and only black person in my dorm, but never did I experience racism other than that. And actually, thinking back on it, I don't even know if they were trying to be mean or whatever. The guys in the car, what's going on, spook? I don't know. All I know is when I started laughing at them, it just took off real quick, So, but anyway, it just drives me crazy that here we are today, 50 some years later after I went and all these other kids that I went to school with, 40 or so, that we didn't and don't complain. And here's what's funny too. Everyone that I know that I went to school with ended up with good jobs.
Good.
I mean, really good jobs.
Now, this is your Dodd School in Germany?
No, at Texas Tech.
Oh, at Texas Tech. Okay.
Yeah, every black student I know that went there was there and finished with me a couple of years before, after, ended up with great jobs, whether it's AT&T. One of them became a stewardess with United Airlines. Another one became, some of them. And this is the funny thing: the chief of staff of the Air Force that got replaced. He was appointed by Donald Trump in the first term, and he was relieved this time because he was an idiot. He was black, and he's from Texas Tech.
Yeah.
You know who else is from Texas Tech? Scott Pelley.
Oh, God.
60, yeah. To shame.
Hey, Bill Moyer went to Baylor, okay?
Oh, yeah.
Those CBS guys, they come from those.
Yeah, but anyway, so it's just that this stuff is so silly about Nazism.
Yeah.
Like I said, I have actually met neo-Nazis. In fact, one little kid, when Eli was like, I don't know, he's probably 6 or 7, maybe 8, there was a little kid in the neighborhood. Nico was his name. Mm-hmm. And he was there. And what we remember about Nico, I guess he ate too much cake or something. He just started puking all over the living room. Well, anyway, Nico became a neo-Nazi. Mm-hmm. He ended up becoming, for whatever reason, I don't know. But still later on, and when my son went back over there, still friends. I mean, they can be. So what I learned, the true thing about so-called neo-Nazis and nationalism, that nationalism has nothing to do with race. Mm-hmm. This is what you got to remember. Okay? Nationalism is not about race. It's love of country. And that's why it's called nationalism.
Yeah. So, the other is called racism.
Exactly. Yes. So because you love your country, you don't care what color the person is. If let's say you come from another country and you want to speak English, or in Germany, you want to speak German. Mm-hmm. Like I would have I'm with my kids and these neo-Nazis come on the train and, they hear me speak German. Mm-hmm. I speak German to them, and everything. And they're cool. There's no issue, And so the left and the progressive they're so good at this. They're so good at working up people and changing the meaning of terms, definition of terms, which we've talked about many times. If you get a chance, I'm sure you can get it online, Kingdom of the Cults. And Walter Martin talks about cults, and what they do is they transform meaning, redefine terms.
Yep.
So when you say salvation, when you say eternity, the ever-living God or whatever, they can take that, and when they indoctrinate people, they get them to think something other than. So you can talk with a Jehovah's Witness and tell them, well, we believe in one God. Yeah, we believe that. We believe Jesus was this. We believe that. We believe the Bible is there. Yeah, we believe that. But it's the pluses that they're not telling you about it and how they believe it and define those terms that make the difference. And it's the same with progressives, okay? And this is what we have to fight. We cannot let them redefine terms. So nationalism is not racism. Nationalism means you love your country. And they take it a step further. It's not bad enough to be just a nationalist. You have to be what? What kind of nationalist?
Oh, Christian nationalist.
Christian nationalist.
Yeah, that's the bad kind of nationalist.
That's the worst kind of nationalist. Yeah.
It's okay for an Iraqi to be proud of being Iraqi, but a Christian proud to be American.
Right.
By the way, reports coming out of California, the Department of Motor Vehicles, a worker had to request an interpreter to assist a customer who speaks English. Hispanics becoming the majority language in much of California.
Texas.
I just can I play a little special video from Babylon Bee?
Oh yeah. Let me just say this.
Set it up.
Here's the thing about that to an extent, though. In Texas, for example, the Mexican people that have migrated there over the several hundred years prior to the 20s or the 2000s, they are proud to be American, believe it or not. You go down there and they don't speak, they may speak Spanish to each other privately, but when you go into the shops, they speak English, okay? They speak, and not only English, but very good English, perfect English. So there's not this fear, there does not need to be this fear from the legal immigrants that have come across for years and years and years. there's nothing to be fearful of those people. It's what's come since then from South America, not Mexico, even Central America, but the ones that have come from South America and Africa and Asia and points south and east. So there's so much that we don't stop to think about in these things. And liberal progressives, that's the problem. They don't think. They're literally like sheep being herded. They're like in like Pavlov's dog or whatever animal he used. They get stimuli. I don't know if we need to wrap this up, and I'll let you play that because it's a really good clip. But I'll never forget when Arnold Schwarzenegger ran for governor of California. Mm-hmm. He was running against a Mexican-American named Cruz Bustamante. Mm-hmm. So Cruz Bustamante was the guy. Cruz Bustamante was giving a speech, and in his speech, he talked about niggers. Mm-hmm. Hard G at the end, okay? Mm-hmm. Not niggas, niggers. Mm-hmm. So, yet, I still can't figure, Black people still voted for Cruz Bustamante over Arnold Schwarzenegger 7-1. Yeah. 7-1. Yeah. And among Hispanics, Bustamante only had 5-1.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So Hispanics, this is how badly the Black community has been indoctrinated.
They're still on the plantation.
Anything Republican, exactly. Yeah. Evil. And now, as we know, Schwarzenegger is one of the most liberal Republicans that you can get out there. You know, he and
remember
Carly
during
Fiorina.
COVID, screw your freedom.
Yeah, screw your freedom. Screw your freedom. Yeah, I forgot about it. Anyway, I defer to you, Dave.
I got to say real quick, I'm down at my mechanic. I got a really good mechanic. He's Mexican. Israel Vasquez. He and his brother.
Wait. Let me correct you. It's Vasquez.
Okay.
There's not Guez. There's not like Gutierrez.
I stand correct.
Now, Gutierrez, not Gutierrez.
But I was trying to understand his language better.
Okay, and so, I'm helping you.
I know.
Now, in the future, don't call him Vasquez.
Okay.
Just Vasquez.
See, and he would have helped me with that. He was finishing up working on my car. So I had gotten a ride from my wife down there to pick it up. So I'm hanging around, a couple other Mexican guys there. And I'm trying to chit chat, and they're all speaking Spanish. And I'm trying to get a little tutoring in, help me understand this, and stuff. And finally, Israel pops his head up from under the hood. He says, "Hey, stop. Speak English. It's the language of opportunity."
Yeah.
These guys are all talking to each other Mexican, but they don't want me learning their language. They want to learn mine.
Right.
See, so.
It's funny because in Uganda, English is the official language. Yeah. But they have their tribal tongues.
Yeah.
And at these schools way down in southern Uganda, they're boarding schools. But anyway, when you walk, they have these different signs all over the place. Mm-hmm. And one of that, now this is in Africa, okay? Mm-hmm. We're talking Uganda, which used to be the deepest, darkest Africa. So one of the signs on there, I think I even have photos, says speak English. Speak English, it's the language of success.
There you go.
In Africa.
Same thing.
But for some reason, we're supposed to learn Ebonics in San Francisco. Idiocy.
My son spent a year, or better part of a year with YWAM, did his DTS in Colorado Springs, and then they shipped him to Russia, down to the Caucasus Mountains. And the people of the Caucasus Mountains are nominally Muslim. Okay. They, every village speaks a different language. He said there's over 100 different languages just on the north side of the Caucasus Ridge, the Russian side. And you go 10 miles down the road, it's a different language. But they were all forced to learn to speak Russian. The other thing that they associated with that was the Russian Orthodox Christian Church. And they resist becoming Orthodox Russian Christians because they associate it with communism. And so he was there to present Jesus without the communism. And, but it's kind of funny how that goes.
Wait a minute. You mean Jesus wasn't a communist? Yeah. Christianity isn't a communist
to religion, the people, to the Caucasians, which is the correct term. Yeah. They were the original Caucasians. That's just how they associate things, and the Russians let them in. Now, this was, 2009. And YWAM still was working with Russia. They built a summer camp. My son was part of the team that finished it off, doubled the size of the facility, and 200 and some kids went there. 170 made commitments to Christ that week at camp. So
a Caucasian is just an Asian with caulk on them.
There you go. Okay, we could take that different ways. I'll just let that fly over my head. All right. So this is brought to you by the Babylon Bee.
Wait, you pick up your mic until you.
Okay. Okay. This is brought to you by the Babylon Bee. A time traveler goes back in time to correct history by eliminating Adolf Hitler. Here's the drama. We're going to play a couple minutes of it. You can watch the rest on Babylon Bee's YouTube channel. They've come full circle.
Like the Jews. Yes. Yep. It is. See, it's so funny. People don't understand that. And what worries me, you're getting more and more people who should know better who don't. And it has to be a spiritual thing. And I think it is encapsulated under the heading separation of the sheep and the goats.
Yes.
And you'll soon be able to discern who the sheep and the goats are.
Yes.
And we're starting to do it.
Babylon Bee has a scoop here. Mayor Mondami of New York City has vowed to fight anti-Semitism by announcing mandatory safety camps for Jewish residents. Not ghettos.
Yes, safety camps. Yeah, right. Wow. That's crazy, Dave.
Oh, Spain is troubled that their nation is turning into Minnesota.
Let's discuss
that. Was funny, Eddie.
Wow. It's funny unless you live in Spain.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not so funny. Have you saw the videos, I guess. You've seen the videos?
Yes.
Just thousands and thousands of...
They said 100,000.
100, yeah. I can believe it. And it's all men.
Wow.
It's all these
Who knew?
Yeah. These guys are just coming across. Actually, I think in the flood that I saw, I think there was one girl with them. Mm-hmm. And she might not have been a girl. But anyway, no, but seriously, it everything I saw was men, but the one female. And they're running up to the camera and all this. But they have come across the Mediterranean from Ceuta, Spain. See, Spain, I don't know if you know, a lot of people don't realize, but Spain has a territory on the other side of on the African side.
A lot of us never knew that until this weekend.
On the African side of the Mediterranean, it's called Ceuta, Spain.
Yeah.
And there's a border between that and Morocco.
Yeah.
Right. And so these people have all fled to Ceuta, and then they've taken boats. And you can go a little further to the east and out of Ceuta from Morocco itself, and then take boats on them.
Yeah, but this was all on the African side that happened. It was, they invaded Ceuta.
Right. Yeah. And so, and they're trying to, and they're using different vehicles. Now, some of them, I think, they've actually attacked the mainland because
it's only 8 miles.
Right. You take any boat across to Gibraltar, basically, or a little Malaga, a little further north.
Yeah, very little landing spots in Gibraltar, which is a British colony.
Yeah. Well, just by Gibraltar, it's a little bit to the east of Gibraltar, but it's right. That is where, because Malaga, Spain, is the town that's where we caught the boat to go across to Ceuta. But yeah, it's just gotten crazy. Now, the good thing is, or one of the interesting, Italy has sealed off all of their borders to make sure these people, once they get over to Spain, they would have to cross France, parts of France and Monaco, all of that before they get over to Italy. But I don't know if France is doing anything, or they're just letting them come there now.
Monaco is called a principality of what nation?
It's its own country.
Yeah, I get that, but they don't call themselves a nation; they call themselves a principality.
It's because they're run by a prince.
Yeah. So who's the king? There is none.
It was Grace Kelly's husband.
I thought he was Prince Albert or Prince Philip.
There you go, Prince Philip.
He was a prince.
He was a prince.
Yeah.
They decided to forego the king.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Prince is the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so his son now runs it.
Yeah. Yeah. A strange family of kids, from what I understand.
Could be.
Well, anyway, but your story here is Italy's kind of becoming like Hungary and saying, no, we want our nation to stay our nation. And it's you're saying about nationalism, it's as much about culture as anything.
Yeah. It's what I was saying about the Germans. They don't care what color you are, what your background is, if you're ready to speak German and embrace the German way.
And wear lederhosen.
And for some reason, people don't get that. In America, for sure, they don't get it. That, that's why we have ghettos. And ghetto does not mean slum. A lot of people think, when you think ghetto, you think of some urban ghetto or a slum area.
Right. It's a World War II term.
And ghetto means...
Well, it's kind of an ethnic.
It's an ethnic territory.
What it is. But it was the Warsaw ghettos that the Jews were locked in and died in.
And it should have originally it used to be it was the Jewish ghetto.
Yeah,
that was in Warsaw.
Yeah, that's what.
And later they just called it the Warsaw Ghetto.
Okay, but again, that's what makes it so unique. What Babylon Bee said about Mondami protecting the Jews by forcing them all into
a ghetto. Yeah, basically. Yeah, that's what it is. But this influx, I mean, how many did you say? 100,000?
100,000, 57 dead in 48 hours.
Of the people trying to get in.
Tramplings and drownings.
And drowning, yeah. It's... most of us have seen it on TV. They've had, regardless of what news you watch, they'll show it. It's pretty crazy.
Okay, let's look at what Biden called for in the 2020 debates. They need to surge the border now. Remember that? 3 months before the election. Now, he said. And we saw them all at once coming from all ethnicities and nationalities. And nobody organized it. Nobody masterminded it. This happened this weekend, 100,000, and it happened spontaneously. Yeah. Everybody got the same idea at the same time frame.
And what's weird is they're all wearing nice clothes.
Oh.
Many of them have cell phones.
Yeah.
So
globally, there is some entity organizing this. I think a lot of it used to be funded by USAID. In fact, that kind of leads to another story. The Democrat Party is in debt, and the Republican Party, like $2 million in debt. And the Republican Party's got $100 million in reserve going into these midterms. And according to Newsmax, the reason for the collapse of the Democrat Party is most of their money came laundered through nonprofits, originally from USAID money. Now we know why the Democrats were furious about Doge and the USAID cleanup.
Oh, yeah. There's so many of those organizations that are just cover organizations.
Another thing, plus for Marco Rubio, he said immediately upon being confirmed, he says, I'm taking over USAID. It kind of ran itself as a pseudo administration within the State Department. And no, I'm in charge of this.
Yeah, no, that's true. And the other thing is the Minneapolis, your home area there. Muslim enclaves or Muslim ghettos up there, Somali ghettos, but they're Islamic. I just don't understand it, Dave. You've always heard the term, don't bite the hand that feeds you. These Somali refugees came supposedly to escape life-threatening conditions, poverty, et cetera, and then they come here because we gave them a home. And then what do? They turn on us. And in a lot of cases, criminal activity is running rampant in these ghettos again, whether it's them. You had the Haitians in Ohio, I think, where you had the Haitian issue. You got it everywhere. And it got so bad. This is the good point. It got so bad down in Texas that the Mexican Americans in Texas, particularly South Texas, rebelled against the Mexican influx. And they started saying, this isn't going to work, because they're ravaging their towns and their farms and ranches and so forth. And so the Mexican people, the Mexican American people, have stood up against the onslaught of this immigration. So that's the good news. That's what I want to say as far as the good news.
Yeah, I was trying to look up to see if it's the Islamic sacred texts include Proverbs 13:22, which says, the wealth of the wicked is laid up for the righteous. That's Proverbs. And
they have taken that.
I don't know if they have their own original text, but I sense that as kind of the Islamic chip on your shoulder attitude of many of these immigrants that come in here, that it really belongs to us and we're here to take it over.
That sounds like Black America.
There you go. That would be too.
That's the same attitude. Oh, you don't deserve that because you earned that on the back of our labor.
Yeah.
That's the attitude. Like, no white person ever did any work.
Yeah.
It was all slaves. And I'm sorry, it just drives me nuts because the sham of it all. You've got our mayor here and what's her name? The counselor from North Tulsa, Vanessa Hall Harper.
Yeah.
Okay. She is constantly on this reparations thing. Mm-hmm. And I'm sorry, Vanessa, but no one owes you a thing.
Yeah.
No one owes the people of North Tulsa a thing. After the riot of 1921, mm-hmm. the Black citizens got together and rebuilt North Tulsa to be more prosperous than it was before the riot. I don't care what you call it, riot, massacre, event, a festival. I don't care what you call it. It's the same thing, okay? People died, Black and white, but we rebuilt.
Yeah.
We rebuilt Tulsa, and particularly Black Tulsa, and it was done through the leadership of Black American leaders that lived in the area. I had a good friend, his family mm-hmm. owned the drugstore in North Tulsa. Mm-hmm. Do you know what destroyed the drugstore? Put them out of business?
Desegregation.
That's right. Desegregation, integration, because all of a sudden they decided Woolworth's drugstore mm-hmm. is better than their drugstore.
The white people's stores are better stores.
Exactly. Where they say
which it was
the
just
ice
inferiority.
is colder,
yeah,
and the water's fresher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's sad. And really our friend Henry Primo not only served on the Greenwood Chamber of Commerce for a time, but helped create a mentorship in North Tulsa for entrepreneurs. And he says, I've got contacts with some of the best and most successful businessmen, and they're willing to help North Tulsans reclaim North Tulsa to what it used to be economically. But they all want to go shopping down at the white people's stores, and look, every store ought to be everybody's stores. We're not against that.
Right.
But you know what? The people who served you when times were tough, you owe them your loyalty.
Yeah, if you go down to Bixby, mm-hmm. Broken Arrow, into the Walmarts, the Whole Foods, the what's the other one that I can't remember the name. It's like a Whole Foods type place. It's full of Black people, mm-hmm. and either they've all moved south or they're coming from North Tulsa shopping down here and mm-hmm. going back up North Texas, North Tulsa, and complaining. That's I could go on and on.
I do want to say this: integrating an immigrant population does take time, even under the best of plans. I'm from an area of Minnesota, which, the immigrants that came over right around the turn of the 1900s to the 20th century. And I remember looking back at some old archives of the Little Falls Transcript, the hometown newspaper. And they, back in 1938, they said, this Sunday, the Swedish Lutheran Church will, for the first time of 40 years as a congregation, have their first Sunday service in English language. 40 years, they were Swedish only.
Yeah.
Now, so I'm just saying it can be done. It may take time. We've been here before. If you're bothered because your neighbor's yelling at his kids to get out of the road, but yelling in Spanish, that's okay. At least he's parenting his kid.
Yeah, but see, you can't get true integration unless you integrate the culture into and you can't just go one way. Mm-hmm. We do not help integration in America by causing America to speak Spanish or read Spanish, as you have signs in Spanish. And then you have the same with, where is it, Dearborn, Michigan, or mm-hmm. one of the Michigan towns that is totally Islamic now.
Yeah.
And they've got their own police force with Arabic writing on the sides of the cars. The signs are all in Arabic mm-hmm. and everything. You can't have that. You cannot. Abraham Lincoln talked about it in his speech.
What I'm saying is, when it was done right 100 years ago, it still took time.
Yeah. Oh, no, I agree.
They did not have translators down at the courthouse for everybody. Yeah, it's a tough deal.
My mother, when she was naturalized back in the 60s, had to be able to recite at least parts of the Declaration of Independence. You had to take a test. Oh, that's gone.
Yeah.
You don't have, it's not that hard anymore. You go to some classes and you could tell. It's so funny. Trump, remember, had that White House swearing in of these immigrants standing on the side there. And if you looked at them, you could tell some of them couldn't understand what he's saying. I mean, it's ridiculous. You cannot have cultures, not nations, but cultures within a culture. And make it work. And I know you think that Scandinavian culture is still there or accepted, but no, those people ended up actually a book that I recommend to everybody, and you need it. It's called Black Rednecks and White Liberals.
Okay.
It's by who's the black economist? Not Walter Williams, the other one, Thomas Sowell.
Oh, anything by Thomas Sowell.
Black Rednecks and White Liberals.
Yeah.
Get it in the audiobook if you don't want to read.
No, I just want to say.
But no, let me just finish my thought, okay? His whole deal is that the reason black people have their own vernacular and dialect is not, they didn't bring that from Africa.
You're right.
They learned it somewhere.
You're right.
And they learned it from hillbillies.
Yeah.
Where did hillbillies get their name from? They were the Scottish hill folk from southern Scotland that came to America and migrated to the South to start those farms. That's who the American black slave culture grew up around, so many of them. And therefore, that's why, and then what happened, the reason they still retain it, because if you can go to Tennessee, Alabama, Mississippi, and talk to somebody, and they don't, hey, how y'all doing out there?
Yeah.
You know, no, James Carville can still act like an ignorant Louisianan, but generally the people don't speak like that, the younger generations.
Yeah.
So what happened though, because the black people from that indoctrination and environment, that's how they learned. Red Fox had a thing years ago where he said, where do you think, go fetch that over yonder? He said, we didn't get that from Africa.
Yeah.
We learned that from somebody.
Yeah.
And then what happened as the ghettos, black ghettos of the North developed, the Southerners moved up and started filling the ghettos, and they retained that culture. Yeah. And that's where the black culture comes from.
Yeah. What I'm getting at, Eddie, let's thread the needle on here.
Okay. All right. Here we go.
Day-to-day life, you've got to integrate. We're in agreement on that.
You don't have to, but yeah, it would help.
But for success, it's best.
Exactly, for success.
And what happens typically isn't necessarily that the immigrant himself all of a sudden becomes fluent in English. It's going to be a struggle, but his kids will. And the kids grow up learning the new language. Yet, this is important, Eddie. It's okay once a year to celebrate Cinco de Mayo, Oktoberfest, the Scottish Highland Games, those cultural things we do once in a while to honor our heritage. And that doesn't mean all of a sudden we got to go back to speaking Italian like, Grandpa Luigi did.
Right.
But we got to remember that.
But see, that's the difference in every other culture and the black culture. Because we segregated the schools, like in New York, you have PS, whatever number, and so many of them in Harlem, they were all black schools that have black teachers that probably weren't the best teachers or what did we say, the most cunning linguists. So that's the difference. When you had the ghetto of people that don't speak the language as well as others, have their own culture, they retain that. And that's what's happening right now in Minnesota and all these areas. You have the Somalis that are retaining their culture or trying to, and their kids are growing up with a chip on their shoulder and not really learning what they should learn. And then you've got the same thing going on, whether it's Africans in certain area, if it were Norwegians and you had all Norwegian schools with no assimilation into the culture, you would have the same problem. The black race is the only one in America that has not assimilated. There's one other one, and that has followed because they used to assimilate. But the Hispanics now are not assimilating.
Because of their concentrated numbers.
Well, right. And then the lack of concentration on the American or English school systems.
Yeah.
They say, these people can't, bilingual education. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
Yeah.
You take a kid up to 8 years old, right? Mm-hmm. And you throw them into a class with a bunch of American kids. In a month, they're speaking English and they're reading English and everything. You do this second, English is ESL, English is a second language course in separation. The kids will never be fluent in English. I'm sorry, go ahead.
You were talking about the black school districts up in Harlem. I've got actually a pretty funny clip. It's just a minute or two. And I want to play it for you. This is a substitute teacher down in, I think it's in Brooklyn, but he's coming from Queens and he is taking roll.
Oh, Key and Peele.
All right. That's a little bit of the famous comedian duo Key and Peele. They had a TV show. And weren't they on Mad TV? I think that's what they were part of.
No, I can't remember what they were. It was something else. It wasn't Mad TV, but
in full color?
No, in living color. No, it wasn't living color either. But it's interesting though. Their stuff is resurfacing.
Yes.
You see it on YouTube all the time, and on Facebook it pops up, and they have some of the absolute funniest stuff because it's all real. One of the funniest ones, I'm going off, but it's this preacher, and he's preaching in this service, and then he's starting to talk about the homosexual members of the church, and the guy sitting there next to a girl, and all of a sudden the camera goes on him, and he looks over and sees the camera. And then every time the preacher makes a reference to homosexuals, they show him. And he's going. And so then next time, they show, and he tries to put his arm around this girl, and she's not with him. And then finally they pan over to him again, and he's not. His seat is empty, but the camera following. He's laying on the floor hiding. He's trying to hide because the preacher keeps trying, or they keep trying to point out that he's the gay guy. They have some of the most. It's not always the cleanest.
Evidently, this is Comedy Central. There
you go. It's Comedy Central, but they. The language is not always the cleanest, but it is absolutely, they won't show that on TV anymore.
Yeah.
Because the left, the progressive, they don't want it because they were hitting too much
Yeah.
They were getting too close to where the situation really is.
Yeah. No, Comedy Central's had some of the most cutting edge. Yeah. I mean, South Park. Oh my goodness, the stuff they've had on there. You know?
Do you remember the big to-do they had because they wanted to do a thing where Muhammad was going door to door?
Yeah.
And they had a character for Muhammad, but the network would not let them show it. So they had this blue dot over Muhammad's face, you know, whenever he spoke up or talked. But it just showed, in fact, they got suspended or something for a while over that whole deal because they did not want to have the censorship. Oh, yeah. So what they did, now this is really terrible. What they did, they did this episode just to show that you could do anything with Jesus. And so they had Jesus doing this, doing that, and they had him pooping and stepping in poop all over this rug or, you know, a prayer rug or something. And it just got really, but and it seemed sacrilegious, but the reason they were doing it was to show that you could do and say anything about Jesus, but don't touch Muhammad.
Yeah.
You know, the hypocrisy. They were pointing out the hypocrisy that as far as Christianity and Jesus, you could do anything and they didn't care.
Yeah.
Because here's Jesus doing this. It just kept getting worse and worse and worse and worse. And no outcry, nobody saying anything. Stop. No, you could do, and they actually showed it. And then this thing with Muhammad, you can't show his face, and it's ridiculous.
Have you? This is a little aside, Eddie. I've told you about my favorite episode of South Park, which was Cartman decides to put together a Christian band. Did you ever see it? Okay, Eddie, you've been a Christian music promoter, producer, record label executive. You've done all kinds of things. To me, it is must see for you because I
must see.
Oh, because and they're picking on the Christian boy band Plus One, who my oldest son is somewhat casual friends with some of those guys. And it just shows some of the pathetic things. And then they always throw in the little bit of stuff like, you know, Token, for instance, the black kid. See, to me, I imagine Eddie Huff, a little black boy in Nuremberg, Germany, 1950s. And like, he's Token. So Cartman says to Token, hey, go down your basement, grab your bass and come on over to my house. My bass? I don't have a bass. Yeah, you are. Yeah, you do. You're black. Every black kid has a bass. What do you know? I found a bass in my basement.
What do you know? I can play bass.
Yeah.
Remember, he ends up being able to play.
Yeah. And it's all these stereotypes that they poke fun of. And that's a brilliant thing.
The funniest one to me was, and you can find all these on YouTube, but it's like this psychologist, and he's saying, we are seeing a lot of problems with discipline in the classroom, but we know how to take care of it. And you got these 3 kids sitting there and they're they're yelling and screaming and they say, be quiet. And the kids won't do anything.
Yeah.
And the guy takes one and smacks him and he starts crying and wailing because he slapped it. And he said, stop crying. The kid goes, he smacks him again all of a sudden. So then he walks to the other 2 that are over here and all of a sudden they're not doing anything. He says, yes, this is how you discipline children. Basically, it's showing the reason that kids are unruly like that is because there's no punishment.
We let them.
There's nothing. We let them. Exactly.
Now, were you taught by the nuns?
Yeah,
they were pretty no nonsense when it came to discipline.
yeah, but I just told somebody this story. Oh man, this is when he shows about stories. But anyway, I was in Catholic school in Philadelphia, and we were. It was the only mixed schools you could get in Philadelphia in that area were Catholic schools. Protestants or the public schools were all segregated, black and white.
Yeah.
So anyway. And I was in there with these Irish kids and Polish kids. and there were some bad kids. So one day, the kids were being bad, and Sister Mary Benedict, she says, "You brazen children, you need to learn how to be." And and somebody was doing something. You need to stop that. She goes over and starts trying to whack the kid with a yardstick.
Oh, yeah.
The kid snatched the yardstick from her. This is some Irish or Polish, I don't remember what, but he was from one of those. And he takes the yardstick and he starts spanking the nun.
Oh, my goodness.
And he's chasing this nun around the class. Yeah. And she says, "No, you stop it quickly." His name was Quigley. So I guess, what is that? Irish Quigley, probably. Quigley, stop it. Like, man, this kid's just running after and spanking the nun. Wow. And I'm here like, I'm in shock. I could not believe, because I knew he was going to hell, Was
that his last day in the school?
No.
Wow.
No, he was there the next day.
Wow.
Yeah. The nuns, they didn't throw kids out of Catholic school, really. They would, have you write 50 Hail Marys and Our Fathers. And in my case, the Apostles' Creed. I remember having to write the Apostles' Creed.
Yeah, that's what they do wrong. They make learning and writing a punishment.
Yeah.
And kids learn that they hate writing.
Right.
It's just some bad stuff. But, what really killed it for me, and I went to St. Mary's. I wasn't enrolled in the school, but they never wanted to expel anyone. And my older brothers just got snot beat out of them by bigger kids on the playground. Finally, my mom said, "We're going to public school." But what happened in the 70s, particularly amongst the Franciscan sisters, is women's.
No, these are Benedictines.
Yeah, but the women's lib just swept through the convents, and all these women took off the habits and everything, and they might have somewhat stayed with it, but largely they didn't. And they felt like the church was oppressing them, this vow of poverty and everything else. And, they were, the oppressed. And, so all of a sudden you didn't have nuns teaching at Catholic schools because there weren't any nuns around. Yeah. So anyway, we got stories.
I want to talk about the anti-Israeli or anti-Jewish sentiment in America. It's gotten bad. It's bad. It's really bad. And what's really troubling to me is you have people who should know better, so-called Christians, and some that have some following that are following this thing, and they've done it. And we've talked about this for years, the whole issue of replacement theology, that Christians have replaced the Jews. And to me, it's not an either or, it's a both. Okay. And who is a true Jew? And I believe, my feeling is this, that the nation of Israel, the Jews themselves, will one day awaken through either visitation or through the Holy Spirit moving upon them to show that they're wrong about waiting for the second coming, or waiting for a return of the Messiah when he's already been here. So that's my opinion, but it's gotten really bad, and it keeps, to me, devolving and getting worse and worse.
You've got some conflation that goes on when you use the same term that refers to their Hebrew ethnicity, Jew, and make it the same as those who believe in the Judaic theology. They also call Jew. So Are you talking about the ethnic Hebrew people, or are you talking about the adherents to the Jewish theology?
I'm saying both.
Yeah, they're kind of throwing them all in one bag.
Right. But see, it's not my job to try to separate them. Just like it's not my job to separate Christians. Okay, you're going to make it. No, yep, no, not you. This is when you start getting in trouble, because we are not our brother's keeper.
Okay.
Okay. It's made clear again in Romans that we are not the master's, the judge of the master's servant. Okay. Mm-hmm. Our job is to be the servant.
Right. But we had some of the same thing happen a century ago when there was this move to prevent ethnic Irish and ethnic Italians because they are papists. You're tying their ethnicity to their sect of Christianity. And the two are completely separate. And so my problem, see, I don't think Tucker Carlson's a problem. If you listen to what he actually says, I don't see a problem. Now, I do see some problem with guys like Nick Fuentes because they try to lump everybody up in ethnicity and treat them all as one. And that's just prejudice and stereotype. But there is a political agenda of the Israeli nation that if you don't agree with it, does not mean you're anti-Judaism as a practice, or even of the Jewish people globally. And because if that weren't the case, I mean, you go to Israel today and you find out Benjamin Netanyahu is barely hanging on to power politically within his own nation amongst his own voters. Yeah. And so to take a stand that's not full-fledged, we love you, Benjamin Netanyahu, you're not in sync with the body of the Israeli people, who does have some real problems with him.
Okay. See, it's not my job, faith-wise, to worry about or decide, is Benjamin Netanyahu a true Jew or not a true Jew? Is he a believer? Is he this? Is he marked for destruction or marked for... Okay, that's not my job. Now, politically, how he or Israel and the leadership of Israel affects the world and the United States in particular in fighting against these other enemies of the state, there I can either be for him or against him. But it's not my job to worry about whether it's Ben Netanyahu, is he a Christian or not, or he's not a Christian. I'm sorry, I take that back. Is he marked for salvation or not? And that's where I have the problem with some of this new theology that is, because see, this is how I believe Nazi Germany became Nazi Germany. Okay. With this following the same type of thing, that slowly they were able to be convinced that, well, these are not really Jews, and therefore we need to, they're actually Christ haters.
See, that's really, I do not go there with, all of a sudden question, is this really a legitimate Jew, Right. Just take their profession of what they say they are, unless you have proof that they aren't. Personal. Nick Fuentes is wrong when he lumps them by their ethnicity. Just the same way, Eddie, you were born and raised at a time when if you were 5% black, you were black.
Right.
And they just had these certain ways. And Nazi Germany was very much that way. Any trace of Judaism, and you went to the camps. Yeah. But my thing with like AIPAC, I don't think ultimately has done the cause so good. When they went after, first of all, Tucker Carlson, why? Because he wouldn't go after Nick Fuentes. And then with Heritage Foundation, because they would not condemn Tucker Carlson for not condemning Nick Fuentes, even though he did condemn many of his teachings. And they're trying to destroy a good journalist like Tucker Carlson. Now, all of a sudden, you're forcing me to say, no, I'm not with your agenda. And Tucker Carlson is just like, look, I love the Jewish people. I love what it stands for. I love everything. But I don't have to agree with every political agenda item of this particular government.
That's true. The problem we run into, see, again, it needs to be a separation of the spiritual and the carnal.
It does.
So to take that to another step, to say that the Palestinians have a right to the land, when the Palestinians' only goal is total 100% complete genocide, drive the rats totally out of the peninsula there, or the continent.
Yeah. The Catholics did not take a stand that we have to support Italy during World War II. Even though they're devout Catholic and Rome is where the papacy is and everything, they separated the two. I don't see it happening right now. Israel is not the Jewish belief system.
Well,
it is a nation. It's primarily people of a Hebrew ethnicity.
Right. But it is the land that God promised he would return them to. If you believe that, then that is the Jewish land, the Jewish homeland.
Okay.
Now, that doesn't mean that everyone there is going to be saved, because there's some pretty raunchy people there, like there are everywhere.
Right. It's a very socialist government.
But again, it's not my job to try to say, okay, these are the good ones. Yeah. These are the bad ones.
Yeah. Now,
I don't do that with Catholics. Right. I don't do it with Protestants.
Church of England takes a little bit different view of things. If you are a big adherent to the Schofield Reference Bible and all the notes and about the latter day, we're in the end times and everything, Eddie, you're not really big on all this, Thief in the Night movie and, the big rapture pre-tribulation and all that.
Well, I got saved through Great Planet Earth.
Yeah, I know. But the prophecies about the return of the Jews, well, that happened.
Right.
And what the belief is that there's a double reference of many of these prophecies, that it happened in one sense centuries ago, but yet it's going to happen again in the last days. And that's the thing it's hard to build really sound doctrine out of things that you could take it a number of ways.
So when did it happen centuries ago?
When they were taken by Nebuchadnezzar, and then, of course, you had the Medo-Persian Empire took over the Babylonian Empire. Isaiah prophesied that there will come a leader named Cyrus. Before Cyrus is even born. Yeah. Not only was Cyrus born, what do you know? He became the emperor of the Medo-Persians. And he declared that the Jews should return now back to Jerusalem and rebuild their place of worship. Phenomenal prophecy and fulfillment. You have a lot of things like that where you could see, there was a fulfillment here, but yet we want to take it. It's exciting to read End Times and, watch these movies and read, Late Great Planet Earth. I believe it's all going to happen or has happened. I just don't know the timeline.
Oh, no, I agree. Totally. Yeah, we don't. No man knows the hour of the day. What I'm just saying is that if they were prophesied to return and reestablish a nation, now, are you saying that is the only reference and that was fulfilled already when Ezra and Nehemiah reestablished the nation, or was he speaking later?
I know. It's the thing. There are plausible beliefs and theories. Eventually, when you start adding plausible on top of plausible on top of plausible, you're so far removed from what Paul called preach thou sound doctrine. It's okay to believe all this, but to try to create a doctrine and build a political system on top of that doctrine.
Sure. No, I agree with that. But I think the argument that Christians are having in America and maybe Europe as well about it all is different. It's just a different discussion.
Right.
Because it's something that the Jewish nation or the Jewish people will have to iron out themselves.
Yeah, but I've seen a lot of money go into people like John Hagee, people like Pat Boone, who actually was by the Israeli government appointed to be an ambassador to the Christian people of America. Pat Boone was as long ago. They're throwing a lot of money in and a lot of sermons and preaching and theories and stuff has resulted.
Right.
And money corrupts. I'm just going to say.
No, I agree. But that still does not negate anything biblically, nor does it say that this is the way.
Yeah.
You know how God works. He always does it some way you never expected, right?
Yeah. Personally, Eddie, I have to say, I've lived long enough that I know miracles when I see them. When the 6-Day War happened, the raid on Entebbe Airport, I see some amazing things. And you have to say, at some point, maybe God's on their side. Maybe God really wants this to happen.
Yeah, if you can't see that, then I feel sorry for you.
That's in every Christian ought to take an honest look at it. That doesn't mean you have to agree with Netanyahu on everything.
Right. That's the deal. See, my thing is this. I've been called to preach the gospel to the Gentile.
Okay.
That's me. I'll leave the preaching to or the conversion or the return of the Jews. I'll leave that in the hands of whoever God assigns that duty.
Okay.
That's not my job.
And it's not my place to question it.
Right. So that's all I'm saying. I believe the scripture. I still believe that we are grafted in to the tree of the Jews. I
believe of Abraham.
Okay. And
his seed. Okay.
And thank you. Yeah. Thank you. I thought I'd wait for you to see. So that's as far as I go. Mm-hmm. Okay. How it works out, I'm not going to try.
Yeah.
Because even Jesus doesn't know the hour of the day. Mm-hmm. And there's things we don't know about. We're starting to feel like maybe we're headed towards that.
Yeah.
And the prophecies that have not yet been fulfilled, such as Armageddon and the Antichrist, the beast, and all of how that works out, we haven't seen it. Mm-hmm. I'm starting to see signs. Mm-hmm. So that's why I'm not ready. But as far as I'm not going to go out and preach pro or anti-Israel.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't feel called to that.
Now, I had to say this. You remember the famous story of Peter on the rooftop and his vision, and then Cornelius comes.
Take and eat.
Yeah. And, Cornelius, it just said he was a righteous man.
Right.
I don't know what his system of theology is. And this is a problem with organized religion is we create systems of theology. And sometimes God comes in and just confuses it all.
Yeah. I mean, we're seeing... you can go on YouTube and you see example after example of Muslims, Arabs turning to Christianity.
Yeah.
So praise God.
You and I have very much the same view of what makes a marriage. It's not whether the priest blesses it.
Right.
Okay. We're pretty much go to the spirit of the commitment.
And here's the other thing I want to say. Okay. Mm-hmm. The promise was made to who?
Well, Abraham in the beginning.
And
his seed.
His seed. Mm-hmm. Was Ishmael his seed?
Yeah. And Hagar.
So
yeah.
Does that mean, are we just going to write them off, or is God going to appear to them as well and have a revival among
this is it.
Arabs?
Because God's for every people.
He is.
And this is the problem we have. You've talked about the family feud of the Middle East and this is the problem. I've got a good friend down the street from me who's from Iran. He left when the Shah got deposed. And he is a very proud Persian man. And I have no problem with that.
Right.
But the way he puts down Pakistanis and Indians and everybody, somehow to him, his way of building himself up is putting other people down. And that's godless. It should not be a problem to me that God blesses you. You know, some people just can't tolerate that God has any other child other than me. I have to be his favorite.
Yeah, if the Arabs did not have a common enemy of Satan called America,
and the little Satan Israel,
they would fight each other.
Oh yeah.
I
mean, look, the Saudi Arabians hate the Persians.
Oh yeah.
In fact,
look what's happened. Well, see, here's the thing too that we need to understand. I didn't understand this until recently when it came up. The Ayatollahs are not Persians.
Oh, you're messing with things, Eddie.
So this nation has been taken over by this sect of people. Yeah. And they are now controlling the nation, whereas there are true Persians, like nationalists. There are Persian nationalists who love their country and want to return to the pre-Ayatollah Persia.
Because they were a great culture for millennia.
Yeah. So, you name
amazing
it. You
nation.
go all the way back to Medo-Persian Empire. And so, it's, I don't want to get too deep. Just
okay, let me ask you this. I'm going full circle to what you talked about, socialism taking over.
All right.
And there's a camp of theory that it's really socialism is being used by radical Muslim nationalists to undermine America. And there's another view that the socialists are using the Arab nationalism to undermine America.
Yeah, I think it's right. Both.
Yeah,
I agree.
Because what happened, it was actually the Soviet Russians that propped up the Ayatollah Khomeini and helped get him back to overthrow the Shah. Because the Shah was pro-Western. And then Khomeini screwed over the Soviets. He did not ally with them. And that did not get out there, that narrative. But the Soviets felt like they were double-crossed by the Iranians.
And they were.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, that's the thing, that you can't, somebody once said, make no perfect friends and no permanent friends and no permanent enemies.
Yeah.
Because things change. And when it comes to international alliances, look biblically.
Yeah.
And the Jews, who they would make, these kings would make alliance with, and then next thing turn around and they fight them, and then they're fighting these.
Eddie, your years in Philadelphia, a long winter with a lot of snow, the school parking lot, they would have to create these big mounds of snow, right? Okay. That was awesome because that was the best way to play King of the Hill. You play King of the Hill as a kid? Okay. When you're down at the bottom, everybody's your ally. But when you're at the top, you have no allies.
Well, at the bottom, but once you start up the hill, you're pulling people down.
Eventually,
fighting to get to the top.
When you're the top, you're the one everybody's after, and you have no friends. Yeah. And this is the thing. When they're trying to take down America, you got the Islamists and the gay activists working hand in hand. But those two will never get along if either of them's in power.
Did you ever read my
New Black Thought?
Yeah, that where I deal with that whole thing. It's a 3-part series about starts with Daniel and the 3 enemies, and we have the 3 enemies here. I wrote this in the 90s. And the 3 enemies were atheism, then Islam, and New Age syncretism. Those are the 3.
I remember you talking about that.
And these all align with what we should I should send them to you and have you put them on our site.
Yeah.
But it deals with, and this is from, actually, I think it was 1987, because I found out about the Islamic Brotherhood in 1981. It was this Moroccan kid who joined our YWAM. And he was telling us about the Muslim Brotherhood and what they're planning on doing. And so I've known about this for decades, 40 years, So, hey, we need to move on.
Let's move on. Let's segue right into that. Muslim Brotherhood created this entity called Hamas, which they later disavowed. Hamas just today announced that they're accepting the terms of a peace treaty where they will agree to be disarmed. And this was brokered by the, Committee for Peace. Trump put together this coalition of Middle Eastern states to try to work this out.
So you're talking about the Muslim Brotherhood in Iran?
The original Muslim Brotherhood of Egypt.
Of Egypt. Okay, right. That's where.
That's where they came from. They were the ones that killed Sadat. But later they disavowed Hamas. But Hamas today is saying, okay, we will disarm for the first time. They said that. And Turkey, who Israel hates and they hate Israel, has played a big role because Hamas trusts Turkey more than anyone amongst those nations.
Yeah.
So.
It's but the Brotherhood, it's so much bigger and more extensive than that. Their whole plan, and this is seriously in 1981. This young kid, he was probably 19 years old, had left Morocco. He was Moroccan, came and he was telling us about the Muslim Brotherhood and their plan, and it was to infiltrate the universities, and then from there to the governments, and then basically sabotage all these countries.
Yeah.
This is not new news. We're talking 40 some years ago now. So, but people are, I don't know why they just can't or won't open their eyes to see this stuff.
I got another story here in Maine. They got rid of the Nazi socialist.
Wait a minute, you just brushed aside my story to talk about that, and now you're going to jump in.
I did not know you had a story on
this. I said I was just getting ready to read.
Oh, okay. You talked about your blog. Okay,
and it was the rise of socialism is my next topic, which sounds like it touches.
No, it's a funny joke, Eddie, and it'll take 30 seconds.
Oh, Joe, okay. All right.
So in Maine, they had to get rid of the socialist with the Nazi tattoo on his chest.
The Nazi list.
And they just picked a guy to replace him, somebody from their state legislature, but then they find out that he's getting it on with his second cousin, and they've had a couple of kids together. And Eddie, I don't even see from the Bible that marrying your cousin is a sin. Although
no, it's not. No, I don't think anybody sees it as that, but it's not genetically beneficial.
This was second cousin.
I don't care. They say it goes all the way down to like your sixth cousin.
But even the most strict state laws in America don't forbid it.
Oh, your second cousin? They don't forbid your second.
Nobody.
Sure?
No, yeah. About half the states say you can't marry your cousin. Nobody says you can't marry your second cousin of any of our state laws.
But wait a minute. To me, a cousin's a cousin.
Second cousin is another generation down on both sides. So now you're like share maybe 1/8 of the genetics.
Depends on which eighth that is. Is it the crazy eighth? Is it cousin Eddie's? Is it cousin Eddie's eighth of the gene, or is it Clark? Yeah. Is it Clark's eighth? Actually, neither one of them are two.
Best movie series ever, man.
Oh yeah, that's one classic. But anyway,
I just want to say I don't have a problem with it. And I'm thinking, if you think this is what you're going to build your political agenda on, Republicans, leave it alone.
Oh, well, yeah. But here's the thing. When it happens, you throw everything against the wall.
Yeah.
And some of it will stick. I guarantee you there are people that are stuck in the mud enough to think, second cousin.
Yeah, but... John Sullivan tried to throw a lot of mud at Jim Bridenstine, and then Chris Medlock did this flyer of Bridenstine in his dress whites, standing proud at attention and saying, would you throw mud at this man?
Well, let me ask you, is this person married to his second cousin? Is he of the caliber of Jim Bridenstine?
Yeah, I know.
Is he that worthy?
Well, that's a voter as of Maine are going to decide that.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So
I just think it's more the fact that I'm not even sure that he actually married her. They just lived together. And I get it.
There's 2 strikes.
Exactly. Now,
what's our third one? Well, our third one is going to be that second cousin was formerly a man.
But this is the latest in the political saga going on. I just wanted to throw that out there. Talk about your point here.
Yeah. Oh, no. My thing was the rise of socialism, and we kind of touched it, but there is such a rise now but these run together because there seems to be this rise. There's another one that just came in Denver. In Denver, there's a lady who's an Islamic. Is it this woman? No.
Is that who you sat by?
What's her name?
Oh, gosh.
No, I don't think that's
okay, because she's lieutenant picked for running mate for governor.
Oh, yeah. She must be the existing lieutenant governor, is she?
Leslie Dahlkemper, who was selected as Democrat Phil Weiser's gubernatorial running mate. These are the 2 that are being picked.
Yeah, but this one I'm talking about is running for lieutenant governor.
Yeah, there they do it as a team. They run as a pair, not like Oklahoma, where it's a separate elective office race.
Right, but this is the existing lieutenant governor.
No.
It's not.
No. Oh, you sat by the existing one. That's what it was.
The one I sat is the Secretary of State.
Secretary of State. She's running, or she wants to be lieutenant governor. It doesn't sound like she's going to make it.
That's what I just said.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Okay.
You tell the story.
Thank you. At last. Miracles do happen. Anyway, in Colorado, there's another congresswoman or congresswoman wannabe who's just won the Democratic nomination to become their congresswoman, one of their congresspeople. She's another one of these radical Muslim socialists.
Yeah.
And there's this movement now, and what I'm seeing is it's a Trojan horse. That they're socialists because what's the old thing that Muhammad always said, that you could be all things to all people so that you could win them. And that's what I see, because Muslims, they have this thing where they're allowed to lie, they're allowed to pretend there's something else to quietly assimilate and take over.
Yeah.
And that's what is happening. So you've got another one now. Mamdani claims to be this Islamic socialist. I don't believe he's a socialist at all. He's using that to win elections. And it's happening all over America now. We're starting to see these Congress people, mayors, and people running for governor that claim to be these. They just happen to be Muslim, but they're really socialist. I guarantee you, if they ever get to the point where they can exert power, the communist thing will go out the window.
Okay, so you're saying you can't truly be both.
No, you can't.
That's a great point. What I see, again, I'm going back to the overthrow of the Shah of Iran. The Soviets were doing 2 things. They were helping Khomeini, but they were also inciting riots amongst the universities in Tehran, anti-monarchist. And that socialist movement really was, I would give more credit to the college students for bringing about that.
Yeah, and that's what we're seeing in America.
And they got screwed over because they wanted liberty from a monarchy, and now they got a theocratic monarch.
Theocracy, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the same pattern we're seeing here in America.
So what you had is socialists and theocrats teaming up to overthrow a nation,
right,
and then go to war against each other.
Right.
And there's going to be war then if they ever do succeed.
Oh, and they'll be the first ones they'll be the first ones martyred or killed, murdered, I guess you would say.
And if you remember from Dr. Zhivago, where he told the whole Bolshevik revolution and that, they did turn on each other.
Yeah, it's a pattern that's, been repeated repeatedly. And these kids are just too stupid to see it.
Yeah.
Young and dumb.
And these people that I remember talking to, I've got a friend, Chance, he's been homeless. He's very much a socialist in his politics and stuff. But I asked him to define liberty, and it's basically socialism. And I said, no, you just described socialism. And he's didn't realize the difference.
Yeah, basically, the people that are for socialism, they're just angry at people at the haves.
Yes,
and they want what the haves have without having to work for it.
And it goes back to the axiom of Walter Martin. It's who defines the terms.
Right.
Yeah,
and that's what we're seeing happen in America. So we need to fight this. Whatever. Hey, I want to finish our show today.
Yeah.
Speaking about the upcoming runoffs, particularly the gubernatorial one.
All right.
Actually, tonight there's a debate or a forum up. It's not in Claremore, whereas it's out. It may be in Pryor. I mean, it's up in that area. It's in that district.
Oh, Inola, which is where the aluminum plant's going to go in, is kind of on the south edge of Rogers County.
Yeah, it's in Rogers County, but I cannot remember exactly where this is this evening. Yeah. But anyway, Mike and Maisie and Gettner Drummond will be facing off against each other tonight. So it's something to look forward to. I'm not sure if it's televised or not, but
I'll bet somebody will throw something on the web.
Yeah, I'm sure they will. Yeah, but anyway, it's heating up. There's all kinds of mud being flung. What I'm amazed at is you've got this. They're touting the expert testimony or witness of some accountant. And then I know a particular financial planner who used to be on KFAQ, and they are very much in the Gettner Drummond. Now, the only thing I'm thinking is, at least for the financial services guy, I'm not sure if it's true objectivity or there's some negativity as being a competitor in the whole area of financial services, a stockbroker, basically, a financial advisor and investment counselor. And so whether or not this person's motives are totally pure, whether they may have had a run-in or some clients were stolen, I don't know any of that. I'm not trying to assert that. But it's just very interesting to me because this is a Republican individual who very strongly, and several people are supporting Gettner Drummond that I'm kind of surprised at. So we'll see. I don't know what's going to happen. They've tried to pin two things in particular around Mike's neck, Maisie's neck. And one is all the way back to 2016. And there was a state bill proposed, some state legislation to turn Oklahoma into a, instead of the electoral college, a just basically, a plurality vote, a popular vote, to go from the electoral to the popular vote. So anyway, whoever gets the most votes, we give them I think that's what we do now. And there's something, they wanted to take us away from the electoral college. So it'll be in other words, it becomes national popular vote. Okay. So whoever wins the most votes in America. Now, if we had followed the popular vote, Hillary Clinton would be our president. I think, I'm not sure about this last time. I think Biden was beaten so soundly that even the popular vote he lost. But there is always the danger and risk that with California, New York, Illinois, these major states with a lot of votes, that in a state like Colorado, they could overwhelm the rest of the states. So that's why I'm against that, and we should all be against that.
Yeah.
There's several, Republicans and people that I know and like that were pushing for this, but I don't think they were getting the full details of what was at stake here. Yeah. And so we've got to continue to keep. It's amazing what the founding fathers foresaw and were able to put into our Constitution that have protected this nation and kept it the free nation that we are. But anyway, Gentner Drummond has two things. As I said, the Inola plant.
He actually filed a lawsuit to put a halt to it.
Right. That's his big deal. And then the other one, of course, is what did I talk about earlier? Oh, just going back to 2016, Mike's deal there. So here's the thing, and it's funny because I shut this person down who should have known better on Facebook, where he's talking about. I said Gentner Drummond has given us nothing. If you look at his ads, what has he promised? Positively, he's promised nothing. It's all attack.
Yeah.
And then he did finally yesterday, this thing came out that he's for this, but he doesn't say how he's going to do it. He's promised basically nothing. In fact, I just did a Facebook post called Gentner Drummond is selling airware. And I don't know if you know, back in the late 90s, when software was the big thing, you had Windows and you had O2 and CompuServe and all these different companies out there selling software. Software was the big thing. And I bought a couple of programs that essentially were worthless. It didn't do anything more and didn't do what Windows did or Microsoft, okay? But people were hawking this, and the term was coined airware. That's just air. They're promising air, and there's nothing there. So that's what I see with Gentner Drummond. He's promising nothing. He won't stick his neck out and say, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this to better our state. He hasn't done that. Where Mike has actually put concrete, and they're attacking his financial plan, saying that it can't work or whatever. But at least he's put a plan out there.
To that point, on Monday, the third, KOTV Channel 6 and Channel 9 are doing another forum.
Right.
And evidently that's going to focus on economic plans.
Okay.
And now, of course, my whole thing, that's unanswered so far from Mike Mazzei is he planning to put a sales tax on services? I was at my dentist this week and I said, watch out. I said, it doesn't matter who wins. The legislature is going to take up a move this next January, February to end the income tax,
right,
but expand the sales tax. And it's one of the most horrible things. It's going to hurt people of lesser means way more. And every businessman who provides any service is going to be an unpaid tax collector who's going to be on the hook if somebody steals from him the money that he's holding to send to the state. He gets not paid anything.
But isn't that essentially like a consumption tax?
Oh, it is.
Okay. So what is wrong with that? So what I'm getting at is when you talk about taxing goods and services, but you're only being taxed on what you produce.
Yeah, I have a problem with making the businessman the unpaid tax collector. And he has all the responsibilities and gets nothing out of it.
Well, no, yeah, but that's when you do business and you add taxes to whatever you do, you have to do that anyway.
Yeah,
unless certain services you don't. But you're forgetting the aspect over here that that same businessman then will not have to pay.
Right. But the person who makes passive income will basically not pay any taxes.
They're not doing it now. Passive income.
Oh, yeah. You have to report it on your 1040 form.
Depends on what it is. The rich are rich because they've got it sheltered in all of this. And
I'm not talking about all the shelters. I'm just talking about the basics of, look, whether it's capital gains, that's at a different rate, yes, but it's an income tax.
Okay.
And anything else you do, what I'm saying is your company, what they send you in your check, okay, fine. Your W-2s, your 1099s, everything, you won't pay taxes on that. But at least you had write-offs in that. When they do this massive inflationary push of adding another 9% to the cost of all goods,
but they're
including your doctor and your lawyer and your plumber.
But you're taking away the income tax that you would be paying.
I understand that. There are going to be winners in that and losers in that.
Yeah, you have winners and losers in that.
Yeah, the very rich will get a huge windfall.
I don't think they can get any bigger windfall than they already have. If anybody were to be hurt, and I wouldn't worry about the wealthy because I guarantee you, you're not going to hurt them. You can't hurt them.
Okay.
You would hurt those that are wanting to become rich, wanting to become wealthy, because that's who ends up.
And I'm telling you, when you're taxing off the top, see, if I mowed lawns for a living,
right? Okay,
all of a sudden, all my prices go up another close to 10%. And then it's sales tax.
Okay.
If we expand sales tax to include all services, now to go to the dentist, go to the doctor, call a plumber, attorney, anything, the hospital bill, everything, it's going to go up another 9%. That's a massive inflationary.
Right, but whatever you're buying, you're not paying that. What is it, 11% now?
11% of what?
When you go shopping.
Well, it's about 9-10% in most areas of the state. Yes, okay. You are paying. There will still be a sales tax, Eddie. It's going to be a lot bigger because now it's not just on goods. It's going to be on services.
Right. That's true, but I'd rather it be on services than on consumption tax. When I'm eating, when I'm drinking.
Eddie, you're not going to lose. You're not going to win anything on the consumption of items. That's still going to be there. Sales tax will still remain according to the Mazie plan and other plans like it. They're going to get rid of income tax.
The income tax. Okay, now I got you. Right.
The income tax they want to get rid of, which is 3% of what's left after you get all your deductions, all your credits, everything else. The cost of goods sold. All these things. And what I'm saying is it's just going to be a huge change. It's going to have impacts that I don't think a lot of people realize.
Okay, so, all right. Well, listen, so okay, I'm going back through this. So we're going to take away the income tax. Mm-hmm. Okay. And the sales tax is still...
That's on goods are going to be there. And now it's going to also be on all services.
But I thought he's already... Well, it depends on what the goods are. Okay. Groceries, we recently exempted half of it.
Well,
no, we exempted all of it except the local communities still get to
right. Roughly half in most communities. Right. Okay. If you're paying 9%, probably 4.5% is local. The other 4.5% was state.
So if we can get rid of the other 4.5%, 4.5%, if we get rid of that adds back 4% to our income or what we get to keep.
Yeah.
Unless you don't eat.
If we did get rid of that, income tax at the highest level, the just mega rich, their highest amount of earnings get a 3.5% currently income tax. That's after you deduct everything else out. And that everybody will pay the sales tax and all their doctor's bills, dentist bills, lawn mowing, every plumber service, electrician, attorney, all those costs are going to go up immediately 9%.
Well, I want to hear the whole plan.
Exactly.
I want to look at the full plan before I decide, because in talking to Mike and the guy, I won't mention his name. He's a young kid. Anyway, as I understand, they sat down and worked through this plan. Mm-hmm. And because it wasn't actually Mike's initial idea. Mm-hmm. He had wanted a partial, which is getting rid of the rest of the state income tax. Mm-hmm. But so they apparently sat down and worked through this to where it actually comes out as a beneficial.
Right.
So I'd like to see the full plan.
Well, it was Rob Sellers, the head financial guy at Oklahoma Council on Public Affairs.
Right.
He told me last winter, I was putting up lights for him, and he says, yeah. And I said, boy, that is going to be a fight, because I watched the legislature in 2017 fight against Mary Fallon when she pushed it. In fact, Lieutenant Governor Todd Lamb resigned from her cabinet over the issue, and when Mike was in here, that was the issue where he and I got into quite a debate. And he eventually says, nah, it's not going to affect you, Dave. And tell me how, but he wanted to drop the subject and use, we got on and on this and we left it alone. But whether it's Mike, whether it's OCPA, whether it's the Speaker of the House, whoever's going to push it, I'm going to fight him on that. I don't think that's the way to go. And I think the Democrats will win the argument on that.
Well, we'll see.
Because if you remember, when the Democrats finally did sign on in 2018 to something, it was something that didn't hit the working poor and middle class in sales tax as much. And it was a little heavier on the oil production and the petroleum industry. Once they saw that, Eric Proctor said, yeah, we decided that was something we could support.
So basically, to me, what you're saying, which is what this typical class warfare deal,
it's a real thing.
It's okay for these people to pay more, and I'm not just talking more because they make more, but percentage wise, they would end up carrying a larger burden than the average citizen.
And let's go to age on this. The older people will pay less in income tax, but I think it's the young families get hit harder in the sales tax.
It's because they're the ones who are working.
This isn't about working. This is consuming.
Well, consuming, but
they got kids they got to take to the doctor.
Right, but again, they're the ones that are working.
Well, the older folks are still making income. The reason why,
it's passive income.
Yeah,
right.
But there's,
you don't think? Yeah. See. Okay. So Trump just got rid of taxing Social Security.
No, he partially did.
No.
That was the selling point. No tax Social Security, no tax on tips. Both of them have limits.
No. Well,
in the code they do.
Okay. But what are the limits? Where do they begin? Mm-hmm. See, that's another issue that I think we're probably maybe on the same side. Let's take Social Security. Right now, you only pay Social Security 15% of up to $135,000 a year.
Well, that's what we call the payroll tax, the withholding. But what Trump was talking about was when you start collecting.
I know. No, yeah. I'm going to stay where we are. Okay. So right now, above $135,000, you pay no taxes.
Yeah.
Okay. So to me, I've been advocating, no, you need to raise that limit.
Yeah.
Well, because that would keep Social Security solvent. Well, these people aren't going to really need it or benefit from it, so why should they have to pay into it? Because if you have Social Security, then everybody needs to pay into
Well, I understand. And this is
100%.
This is us in 2020 discussing a concept that was pitched in a very different world 100 years ago.
Yeah.
Back then, they had just started income tax, and it was only the super rich.
Right.
The middle class didn't really start paying federal income tax until about World War II and after. So
we reversed.
So what the real taxes that were taken out of our check, they didn't even call it a tax. It was your pension paid. Mm-hmm. Social Security was looked at as a pension plan.
Right.
And they basically wanted to mandate everybody to have a modest pension plan that the government ran. And that's why they said, okay, we're just going to make it so you have a modest one and you can invest beyond that. What it really did is it took all that money that you could have invested in a much better pension plan. But that's the reason why they said, okay, we're going to mandate your first X amount of dollars a year has to pay into by proportion. And beyond that, that wasn't our business. Now we're looking at it now as just a social program. And we're saying, why are the rich exempted from social plans? So I'm just saying that's why.
Right. So exactly. So I want to use that to say I assume, sounds like you're okay about exempting them from paying any more than their $135,000 maximum.
If it was a pension plan, then yeah. But in reality, it's socialism now. Right, okay. And your argument makes sense if we look at it as a social program.
Well, but social or other program, they're escaping paying anything above $135,000 in income annually.
And yet they're paying more in than I am.
Right. But percentage-wise, it ends up
Percentage-wise. But in real tax dollars, the guy making 120 is putting in a lot more than the guy making 60.
Right. But that's because basically we have this percentage of your income. Mm-hmm. Okay. So if we look at what Maisie's talking about, it essentially is the same thing.
Yeah.
And so the only reason I can see being upset about it is if you're down at the lower rank and you don't want to pay those taxes.
Well, I'm just saying it's going to hit hard the working poor and middle class to put more into sales tax services, and hitting them than the current system.
Maybe it'll do everybody a favor because we have a whole lot of fat children out there.
Well, but Eddie, you and I both know the inflationary effect of this is going to be massive.
Well, I don't know. I don't see it as being mad. In fact, I see it probably as the opposite.
If you raise all health care, doctor, all services, plumbing, auto mechanic, all that, if all those bills that people are currently paying goes up 10%, that's a big chunk of the economy that just took a 10% hit.
Exactly. But the problem is if people are being taxed for those services, then they're not going to be able to pay as much for those services. And it may reduce the price. It may be deflationary is how I'm looking at it.
May reduce the price.
Yeah.
How does the mechanics cost of operating a business go down?
Because the other person who is using the mechanic service is not going to use his services much.
The mechanic's making less money now.
So is the person who's using the mechanic. So that's what I'm saying.
Just make everybody poor and we'll be happy?
I'm not saying make them poor, but I'm saying at least it will cut the inflationary aspect of it. Because if at the bottom you're able to pay less and buy less, and then you're going to make less.
How do you pay less and buy less on this plan?
Because what you're saying, you can't afford as much to go out.
Oh, so you go without, and somehow that's good.
I don't think you're going without. You just start becoming more judicial on who or what you're going to buy and take the service of.
Good luck selling that at the ballot box.
Listen, that's never going to hit the ballot box. It won't ever get that far, okay? I'm just saying the realities of it. If I know that I'm making $50,000, say $100,000, and now all of a sudden I got to pay 12% of that I wasn't paying before, then that's 12% less. I've got to reduce my spending. Unless you're just crazy and want to, I don't care.
So you just don't go to the doctor. Don't go to the dentist.
No, you won't probably take it. Well, you won't go as much. Let's put it that way. Right now, what do? We go to the dentist or doctor. I got this ache in my butt.
Oh, Eddie, I'm sorry. You're not selling me on anything right now.
Well, I'm sorry. Well, we come from different mindsets on this, but no, I think right now, what is it? 49% of the people are paying the taxes.
That's on income tax.
Right. Yeah. Right. And so I don't have pity on, now there's some people who need it and they need the social benefits to help. Okay. But a large part of that 49% don't need to be getting by with nothing. Yeah. Okay. Or little or nothing.
Right.
So I see this as equalizing the burden on everybody.
Yeah, but I guarantee you, when your kids were in high school, you were paying much higher monthly output in sales tax than you are now. It just costs to raise a family.
Sure. No, I believe that.
And they're getting hit harder when it's a consumption-based tax, such as sales tax.
Right. But see, we'd have to see it all play out totally laid out there. In other words, are there deductions or is it less for certain?
Yeah.
If you got kids in school, if you got this and that.
Right.
That's the details. We'd have to see all the details. Okay. I'm just saying, just carte blanche across the board. I don't see anything wrong with basically what you're saying. So you're against a flat tax and a flat consumption tax. You're against that.
No, that's what I was going to get to here. If we did a complete federal and state overhaul to get rid of all productivity taxes, income taxes, the reason Mike Huckabee said that he supported it is it came with a prebate. He said where it's a means tested thing and they would give to the recipient the amount that they expect them to be hit with consumption-based taxes. He said the other thing they would do is, very first thing is repeal the constitutional amendment that even allows for an income tax, because it used to be unconstitutional. They changed the Constitution to create it. So if you did a thorough overhaul like that, where they wouldn't end up hitting you on both sides, then I could, with the prebate, those two items, and I can support it.
Yeah. See, I don't know.
And you know what? I don't even think long term you need to do a prebate, but I think initially you probably ought to have something that you phase out on the prebate thing.
Yeah. See, my issue is, and I think we agree on that. First of all, there's too much spending by government.
That's the real problem.
Right. So that needs to be decreased. Okay. Then I think we've got too many people not paying in to the tax system. Yeah. Too many takers and not enough givers.
And that's a lot of the argument for a consumption tax.
And therefore it's unsustainable. I think, I know it's unsustainable because that group is growing. Yeah. It's getting bigger and bigger, especially with all the migrants coming in and everything, So that's why I think there's ways to adjust and do this, but you would have to, do it on both ends.
Yeah.
You got to do it by bringing down the the expenses and the costs of all various different things. And then primarily, though, on the government end, they're spending.
Yeah.
And, it just ticks me off for those of us that live in a certain part of Tulsa that have to travel between Mingo and Memorial on 91st Street. We're 18 months now into fixing half of a 1 mile stretch.
Yep.
Half of 1 mile.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a mile, but it's only half of a road. And it's taken a year and a half to do this.
Remember, Memorial seemed like it was forever under construction for the last 5 years. I think a couple years ago, they finally wrapped it up.
Well, yeah. And out here, it could already be replaced. They keep throwing gravel and tar down in there, which gets.
I will say to you, the stretch in front of your subdivision, it doesn't get more complex than what they had to do there. They literally had to move a creek.
No, they haven't moved the creek. The creek.
They straightened the road. The road was following the bank of the creek.
No, they couldn't straighten the road because that one half is still there. They've still got the initial road. All they're doing is putting 2 more lanes now. That's all.
It's not going to be any straighter?
No.
I thought it was.
No.
Oh, so it was just a widening.
It was just a widening.
Oh, yeah. Well, when they're widening, they had to widen into the creek because it was right up against that creek. They had to fill in and embank.
No, they haven't.
Wow.
Go up there and you'll see.
Yeah, you live there. I don't.
Yeah, no, they haven't done. They haven't done anything but lay a half. Yeah. A mile and a half, 2 lanes, a half a mile.
Yeah,
it's just crazy to me that it would take that. And most of the time, you don't see anybody out there.
Yeah, that's the problem. Was the way they have to set aside for each step certain number of weeks that a contractor has sole rights to the whole thing. And if he has 3 weeks, but it doesn't rain, he gets it all done in 1 week. They still sit there for 2 weeks before the next guy's term starts.
Yeah. And, and if you say, oh, well, we don't have enough money right now, it's a flowing budget.
It's not about money.
It's not about money.
No, they already appropriated the money for it.
Yeah, but
unless there's cost overruns.
Is there a problem coming up with the money that they promised? I mean, could that be?
I don't think it's that. They would be quick to blame it on lack of income if it was lack of money coming in.
Yeah, it's silly though. It's literally silly. Though.
John Smoligo did a great job explaining to me when he kind of on the county commission handled roads. Mm-hmm. They were a little bit different then. And he says, you know what? If nobody had to drive on it, we could build a road in less than a third the time.
Well, let me ask you this. How was Broken Arrow able to widen 2 or 3 roads or city streets in the time we
brilliant point. Broken Arrow doesn't wait until the traffic's too heavy to be accommodated. They are way forward thinking. They will widen while nobody's hardly on the road.
Right, but what I'm saying is, why did they able to do 3 times what we have not yet done in 1.5 years?
Yeah, I'm saying every big project they've done,
right,
they've done before the traffic got crazy. I mean, the stretch that you're talking about outside your subdivision should have been done 30 years ago. If it had been Broken Arrow, it would have been 30 years ago.
Right. But see, the traffic didn't seem or wasn't that heavy until it is now that you have 2 lanes. Mm-hmm. And it's just to me, it's inexcusable. They should. Oh, another thing. Let's close out with that.
No, I've got to finish up one last thing on the Social Security.
Okay.
This is important.
I'll try to remember what it is.
So good. Yeah. Eddie, you spent a lot of years in the prime of your life basically working for next to nothing as a missionary. You didn't get Social Security credits.
Right.
You came back here, worked your butt off, built an insurance agency, did a lot of things, and you're able to retire with a Social Security credit and benefit. It's greater than mine. Okay? I admire your success.
I don't know, but yeah.
Oh, yeah. I've seen the numbers.
Oh yeah,
I did your taxes last year. But Eddie, that's the evidence that it isn't a socialism program. It still is a pension program. You have to earn credits.
Oh no, I agree, and it's a terrible program.
Oh, overall, there's so much. I mean, it is so underperforming. Yeah. If it was being sold as annuity, it would be gone.
Well, yeah. I mean, but that's the thing, I've done this. I put the numbers down, and a 25-year-old pays no Social Security. It takes the amount of money that they would pay into Social Security, takes a quarter of it to buy a 30-year term policy, and then the bulk of it goes into an investment account.
Yeah, the old A.L. Williams spiel. They were a lousy company, but that's how they sold it.
And it works.
Yeah.
It works. First time I ever saw it actually was on 700 Club years ago. Pat Robinson, the economist, put it out there. But if you took, let's say, if you're able to take $200 a month, okay, and you take that 200 and you use 50 for a 30-year term policy, which you can do, maybe even less, probably $30 at age 25. And then you take the other 150 a month and you put it into either an annuity or some low-risk stock investment, mutual fund. And, if you're averaging 7% a year, on the other end, you end up a millionaire.
Yeah.
And you could buy your own deal. And the other thing is, as you make more, you actually put more into your investment account, more and more and more.
Snowballs.
Because you're making that. And then, But now, because they're taking out 15%, 7.5 of yours and 7.5 from your employer.
For me, it's both ends.
Well, yeah, that's true. That's right. See, that's true. I suffer from that, as you know, too. The self-employment.
And I only get credits on half.
I know. So these are issues we can agree on.
Yeah.
And that we realize that it's a bad situation. So it'll be interesting to see Mike's explanation on it.
My guess is Mike took something away from our little debate and maybe massaging the plans, because I know he has adjusted some of these plans since the campaign started. Right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But what bothers me on the other side with Gunnar Drummond is that he presents essentially nothing. He is not offering.
He's status quo guy.
He's not offering anything. He's just attacking this plan as opposed to no plan.
Yeah. My thing on it, and I plan to vote for Mike again, is it's temperament and competence. And both those things, I give it to Mike. Gettner, people have had problems with his temperament. It's like he's angry at somebody all the time.
He looks angry every time you see him.
He's always going after, someone, demonizing this, that, and the other. Texas Tech, yeah.
That's the enemy. We got to do something about that.
My problem is, and I said this before, Texas Tech might ought to countersue the state of Oklahoma.
Well, that would be funny.
And then all of a sudden, now, Gettner, you just jeopardize our state financially by demonizing a totally innocent university.
Yeah.
And they were. Folks,
as a campaign.
Because I think Texas Tech needs to sue the NCAA for failure to enforce when this kid was an athlete at two other universities. I
don't know.
Because, if they had been doing their job, the kid would have been found out, he would have got help, and he probably would be starting this year for Texas Tech.
All right.
Yep.
So we need to quit rambling and wrap it up. Do you have anything else sport-wise?
No, we're starting the NFL. I'm ready for football. How about you,
I think everybody is.
It's August.
One thing I do want to say, it's like all of a sudden Argentina has become public enemy number one.
Oh, Eddie, we got to talk about this. Big fight going on in FIFA.
Yeah.
Just the last couple of days.
Yeah.
Evidently, Jared Kushner's younger brother was making this deal to purchase part of an expanded entity of FIFA, and which would have television rights.
Yeah, it's a separate entity.
Well, it's part under the FIFA umbrella,
well,
but
that's a problem. See,
it's a TV rights deal.
Yeah, but the actual national directors of every national program, they were never consulted on this.
That's the thing.
And so they have balked at it. So it's off the table. It's not going to happen.
The European nations particularly did not like this.
Right. They're out of, they said they will not participate in the next World Cup.
So it's been scrapped.
Right.
But FIFA, which came off of a great event, all of a sudden just lost all their credibility.
Well, like everything else.
And somebody has said that it's pretty corrupt organization.
Yeah, it has been. It has been. Yeah.
Wow.
That's why. And that's what I think it's come to light, a lot of the Argentinian issue, that they were definitely being favored and there were things not called on them, like Messi should have been kicked out of a game, but where they did kick out other people from doing less than he did.
Yeah.
So, it's a tough, and I suspect it. In fact, I think they found out that in one of the games, they fired a bunch of not a bunch, but I think they fired the whole crew that did one game. I can't remember which game it was, but they found that they were being paid or something. Yeah.
Oh, my God. Yeah. Well, the Olympic committees had all kinds of corruption. Remember when they were bought off Chicago? Remember Obama went to pitch Chicago winning the Olympic rights to the Olympics?
Yeah.
And evidently everybody there had been paid off.
Yeah. And it just keeps going. I mean, it's crazy the way the Olympics, the World Track, what is the World Track Organization? I want to say WTO, but it's not. But whatever sport it is, nationally, why should the NCAA have exclusive authority and rights over all college sports?
Yeah. Yeah. And
that's what I've been dealing with for a long time. That's a monopoly. It's a monopoly that we're not supposed to. Where's the antitrust suits?
Well, you got a point. Letitia James is going after sports gambling operation because evidently in New York, you're not allowed to do it. So there's a bunch of things sports-wise.
So she's wanting to bring gambling to New York.
She's wanting cut of the action, probably.
I wouldn't doubt that. That probably is true. But it's New York. It's just the most messy of the northern New York people off the hook. It's your state. You need to do something.
Yep. All right. Let's wrap.
All right, everybody. Hey, have a great week, and we'll look forward to seeing you next week, Lord willing.
Happy August. It's August 1st.